far too many women struggle with confidence. They struggle with confidence in their body, in their career, and in their personal life. And this then has a massive, massive impact on I guess, their ability to take action and their ability to make progress, and also their ability to actually live the life that they really want to live. So, rebuilding that confidence is absolutely essential for personal growth, for their career, for their relationships, for absolutely everything. And if you're someone right now that is really struggling with your lack of confidence, this episode is for you. Self-doubt prevents women from taking action, which of course means if they don't take action, they don't achieve their goals. And if they don't achieve their goals, then they're not going to feel confident. And it's this vicious cycle that so many women just stay stuck in for so long because they don't actually know how to get out of it. And they think that confidence comes down to simply just being able to like what they see in the mirror and just being able to wear their favourite dress and their bikini on holiday and not worry about how they look. And do you know what? That's part of it, but that's just a very, very minor part. Confidence and self-belief have probably been impacted for you in a lot of different ways. It could be from previous relationships, it could be jobs, friendships. Maybe it's from you've tried to lose weight in the past and you feel like you've tried absolutely everything and you, I guess, just feel like you're going to be stuck in your body forever and you don't feel like you're ever going to get a result. It could be your confidence has been knocked by maybe an old coach that you used to work with or an old mentor. Maybe it's family. Maybe you had trauma in your life growing up that you haven't healed from, that you haven't got over. When there is essentially a history of failed attempts, a history of you've tried to overcome this thing, no matter what it is, but you've tried to do something about it and you've been knocked back again and again and again, no wonder you are feeling hesitant to try again. No wonder you are worried, and no wonder maybe you just can't be bothered because you don't feel like you're ever going to make a change. You don't feel like you're ever going to get anywhere. So what's the point? What is the point? But as I said, most women, and maybe this is you listening to this right now, don't realise what impact their lack of confidence is having on so many other areas of their life. Just think about this. How would you show up differently in your relationships, your job, your family life, at social events, in the gym, if you actually felt confident? What impact would it have on all of those areas if you actually felt good in yourself, if you actually had that self-belief, if you didn't doubt yourself, if you stuck to what you said you were going to do, if you just felt incredible? What impact would that actually have? But the thing is, because you're so hesitant, because maybe something's knocked you before, because maybe you don't actually know how to become confident, you stay stuck in this cycle of fear and procrastination, and it just goes round and round, and you think about doing something and you procrastinate about doing it, and then you're fearful of the outcome, so you don't do it, and then you sit there and wonder why you haven't changed and why you're not feeling confident, and then you have another idea come into your head and you start to procrastinate again, and it goes round and round and round. A lot of the time, women will say they're confident, or they'll say they're confident sometimes because they rely on external validation. They rely on other people saying, you look great. What have you done to your hair? Have you had your eyelashes done? Whatever it might be. Like, people just rely on others to make themselves feel good when internally they know that they just don't feel great at all. And look, as I said at the start of this episode, confidence is not about how you look in the mirror or how you feel in a tight dress. It's about keeping the promises that you make to yourself and following through on what you say you're going to do. Basically becoming a woman of your word. Most women lack confidence because they don't keep these promises to themselves and they constantly let themselves down. i.e., Sunday night, you're prepped for the week ahead. You've got your meals planned, you know what you're going to have, you know what days you're going to go to the gym, when you're going to do your steps, etc. Monday goes really well. You start the week off with a bang. Tuesday, you're doing all right, and then something happens, and it just spirals from there. And then you just tell yourself, I'll start again next week. No wonder you have absolutely no confidence. No wonder you don't actually believe that you are ever going to get results, because you're constantly letting yourself down. There is a big part of you that believes you can do it because you wouldn't set those goals and those targets at the start of the week. But you let this inner voice win every time. And maybe it's because you're trying to do everything at once. Building self-belief starts with small wins and consistent action. But that's the problem. Consistent action is the problem for most of you. Because you think that if you just do a few things for a couple of weeks, everything's going to be all right. And you think that if you just wait for life to quieten down and you wait for maybe the kids to go back to school or to have less work on or something to do with your relationship, that's fine, because then you'll be all right then. It doesn't work like that. And your problem is you're not taking action consistently. That's why you're stuck. That's why you don't feel confident. That's why you have no self-belief in yourself. We can all do something for a few days. All of us can, that's easy. But doing it for weeks and months on end is hard. It's such hard work. But that's where confidence is built. Because off the back of that, not only are you going to have kept the promises that you made to yourself, but what you will have done is produce the results that you wanted, which in turn are going to increase your confidence. So if you feel like you are going to be happy when you love what you see in the mirror and you're going to be confident in that tight dress, great, but that has to come from you keeping the promises that you've made to yourself and doing the work consistently. You won't suddenly be confident when you wear that tight dress. Your confidence would have been built by doing the things you need to do to get to that point. You've got to go through a massive mindset and identity shift. And this is something that you're not going to learn on a fad diet or a 12-week challenge or an injection. Your previous habits and behaviours that have got you to this position that you don't want to be in will not make you confident. Because if they would, you'd be confident by now. True confidence comes from within, and it's not dependent on other people's opinions. It's not dependent on you editing a photo of yourself to make yourself look different and search for validation from others online. Like, don't get me wrong, I have definitely done that in the past. A fair few years ago, I would do that. I'd put filters on my face. I wouldn't take a photo on my story without one. I wouldn't even talk on my story without one. I had no confidence in myself because I wasn't doing what I needed to do. If you don't keep the promises that you make to yourself, you will never feel confident. That's the bottom line. You'll constantly go around in this circle of feeling hopeful for a couple of days because you're doing what you need to do. Then life happens and then that changes. And then you feel rubbish again. You search for that external validation to give you a little pick-me-up. It works for a few hours and then boom, we're back to square one. So look, here's what you need to do. And it's so simple. But I do sometimes think because these things are simple, people just overlook them and they don't do them. And they're just constantly searching for the next best thing. That's why we're in a current boom with the injections right now, because it's the next best thing apparently. And it will fade out. just like they all do. It won't stay around, and people will soon realise the impact, the detriment that it causes. But look, this is what you need to do. If you actually are struggling with your confidence right now, and if you want to feel confident, if you want to feel great in yourself, if you don't want to doubt yourself anymore, if you want to prove to yourself that you can do what you have always said you want to do, but you've never stuck to it, this is what you must do. 3 simple steps. Number 1, you need to shift your mindset. Confidence comes from you keeping the promises that you made to yourself when you felt motivated and excited to change. But doing what you need to do even when the feeling of not wanting to do it has gone, that's where you're really, really going to build the confidence. And it's hard. Of course it's hard. You're going to face days where you want to quit. You're going to face days where you don't want to do it. You're going to face days where you think, Rachel, shut up. You've got no idea what's going on in my life. But that's where the women that actually want to get the results are separated. That's where it's obvious to me as a coach who's actually serious about making a change and who just thinks it's a good idea. And if you just think it's a good idea, you're going to stay stuck in this cycle. You're never going to get these results because you'll do it when it's convenient for you. You'll do it when it's easy. You'll do it when life's okay. But that doesn't matter. You've got to be able to do it when life isn't okay, when things are happening, when you're struggling, when you can't be bothered to get out of bed in the morning, when the kids have pissed you off, when your boss has pissed you off, when your partner's pissed you off. You've got to still be able to do it. That's where the confidence comes from. Step number 2, you need to start small and build momentum. We need to do things at a slow but fast pace. And what I mean by that is we need to pick things that can be implemented, but you need to be quick to implement them. There is no point you saying, right, I'm going to start with just doing a couple of extra 1,000 steps each day for the next week. It's like, yeah, that's great, but you're just missing the point, essentially. Like, you can do more than that. Everyone can do more than that. Everyone can make different food choices from the get-go. Everyone can drink more water from the get-go. And I think sometimes, yes, it needs to be sustainable. Yes, we can start small, should we say, but we have to be quick to implement. That's the bottom line. It's why overhauling your life overnight doesn't necessarily work. It's why you've tried so many diets on a Monday morning and by Wednesday you've given up. Because you're trying to do so many things. And yes, you might be quick to implement, but you're not implementing the right things. So you were never going to stick to it. You need to build that trust with yourself and commit to doing things that you know you can do consistently. Remember that you've got a lack of confidence because you've broken your trust. You've not kept the promises that you've made to yourself. That's why you're not confident. That's why you don't believe you can get it. It's why you've spent the last however many years going back and forth between diets, because you tell yourself you're going to do something and then you never follow through with it. So it's no wonder that you don't feel like you're ever going to achieve it, because you've never proved that to yourself. Most women can't stick at something for more than a few days. And then they come up with a reason why they've missed a few days. And then again, they just break those promises. You have to commit to getting out of that cycle. And you have to be quick to implement to get out of that cycle. The more you dilly-dally around, the longer you're going to stay feeling the way you don't want to feel. Simple as that. Step number 3, final step, really easy. You need to actually celebrate your progress. You need to celebrate when you're doing well. And I don't mean celebrate and go and get a takeaway. What I mean is you need to just take a moment to go, do you know what? I bloody smashed that for the past 2 weeks. I've actually stuck to what I said I was going to do. I've actually proved to myself I can do something. That's huge. But it's often overlooked. And it is the most important part, because as humans, like, we like reward. We like to be celebrated. We like to be congratulated for what we're doing. So congratulate yourself. Be proud of yourself. It's really, really important. So look, this is what you need to understand. You will never feel confident if you never actually fully commit to doing what you said you would. The more you break the promises that you made to yourself, the worse you are going to feel. So you need to shift your mindset. You need to pick something that you can do right now, whether that's track your food, your water, get to the gym, do your steps, whatever it is, and commit to doing it. Not just for 2 days, do it for 2 weeks. It will honestly change the game for you. And just commit to getting it done. Don't let this be another podcast that's hyped you up for a couple of days for you to just then fall off the bandwagon again. Something has to change, and that is your commitment. That's why you have not got results. You have not been consistent enough at the things that actually work. That is the bottom line. It's why you don't feel confident. Confidence is built through taking action and keeping the promises that you made to yourself. It is not built from Instagram filters and validation from others online. You're going to have to go through a massive identity shift, a massive mindset shift. You're going to have to let go of the person you once were, those habits and behaviours that have not served you, the ones that have got you to this position that you don't want to be in by now. Because if they did serve you, you would be confident. You would feel great in this moment. You'd be in this position that you want to be in for the rest of your life. That's the bottom line. Nothing bad ever came from taking care of yourself. So just do it. Just crack on and get it done. Confidence is built through taking action. It's not built through Instagram filters and validation. Please remember that. I hope this episode has been really helpful and also really eye-opening for you. And I would love to hear what your biggest takeaway is. Please pop me a message over on Instagram at Rachel Solway Level Up, and I look forward to speaking to you on the next one.